I couldn't let you get out of here without asking you some tough questions. So this probably gonna be one of the first tough questions I gotta ask you. So I want you to give me your top 5 music producers, top 5 dead or alive, and you can put them in any order. So you don't necessarily have to rank them. Meaning like the first one you say doesn't mean that that's who you consider to be the best out of the 5. Just
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's easy. Number 1, Quincy Jones. Somebody that I've followed in the body of work. Like I always look at the body of work. Sonics. So like as me being a producer, the time periods that he produced in, you're talking about, the 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s and sustained, and what gives me hope is that he didn't really like hit the stratosphere until he was in his late 40s, so that was definitely like something that drew me to him, and the discography and the melodies, even to this day are still hypnotic. And then right after Quincy, number 2 is going to be Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Another sonically sound duo production that transcend time, right? So, I like to study. I'm a student. So if it's going to be something that I'm going to study, I'm not going to study something that's short term. It's going to be long term. And I got to study the sonics. A lot of times, when people make music, it's I know we're in a vibe generation, but
it's a vibe.
right. But when it comes to sonics, that's something different. And that's what I look at. Third, man, this one's tough. I'm gonna have to make that a 3-way tie between Chucky Thompson, Rodney Jerkins Darkchild, and I'm gonna have to give Teddy his respect. Like, knowing him and knowing what I've learned from him, I gotta put him in that 3 slot. Darkchild, but just because of the arrangement. Chucky Thompson for melody. Like, some of the most incredible music I've ever heard or touched me was from Chucky Thompson, so I had to put that. Number 4, in the 4 slot, I gotta give it to Dr. Dre. Sonically sound. A sonic that transcends time. And last but not least, I'm gonna have to give Dilla. That was another influence on me. So for me, I started off producing hip hop. By the time I got into my early 20s, I started playing keys. So I had to study R&B. Plus playing in church, playing alongside keyboard players, my ear was kind of from an early age. My ear was tuned, so I'd have to say that.
Okay, now we're gonna narrow it down. Now I'm glad you took the time to explain your answers instead of just giving me a quick 5. But now that you done gave your list, we're gonna have to narrow it down a little bit. So who would you say is the GOAT when it comes to music producers?
Quincy, absolutely. Because without Quincy, you don't have the rest of them. You got to pay homage.
So he was the pioneer, huh?
Absolutely.
There wouldn't be no Michael without Quincy, basically, right?
There wouldn't be a lot of people without Quincy. Like, there's a direct lineage from him to other people. So you got to give him that respect. And I wouldn't even want to run up against him. And he 80-something years old right now. I wouldn't want to go up against him. So I got to give that man his respect. There's no place on earth that he hasn't touched.